So I grew up in the English Midlands in a fairly big town called Walsall, which is in the Black Country. But my dad came from Wales, and so I went to school in Walsall, and the story starts in 1966, which was the first year I went to junior school, and this happened in the first week that I went to school. When I was in the first year of junior school, something really awful happened in our family. My dad came from a really small mining village in Wales called Aberfan, which probably nobody would have ever heard of. But in that year I went to school, there was a horrible disaster in the village, and one of the slag heaps, that was all the rubbish that was taken out of the mine, slipped and went on and fell on the junior school in the village. So of course if we'd lived in the village, I'd have been in that school. So it was a really horrible thing, and very upsetting in my family, and my granddad still lived in the village, so my dad went back to Wales to try and help. Anyway, because we'd just started at junior school and we had to do our first pieces of work, one of the things we were set to do was to write a diary about all the things that were happening. And so of course I wrote in my diary, it's been this horrible disaster and lots of children have been killed, and my dad's gone back home to try and help, to see if he can help, because there were lots of clearing away. The slag went right into the village. It was in all the streets. It was right up to the door of my granddad's house, so there was lots of clearing up to be done. And I wrote all this in my diary, and then the teacher was really angry with me, and I didn't understand why this was, and I had to go and see the head, and I was sent with this lad who was sitting next to me, who I didn't really know because we just started school. And evidently the stories in our diaries were exactly the same. So it was, I can remember being completely confused, because the teacher was saying, well, one of you must be telling a lie. And I was thinking, how could you lie about something as awful as this? You know, this was like, I still remember this traumatic event. But this lad next to me, who hadn't understood what a diary was and obviously didn't know what to do, had just copied what I had written. And as we went to school together, I knew this lad, and it wasn't the first time he got into trouble. Mind you, it wasn't the first and last time I didn't either. But that's my story. So it's got a whole set of really awful things happening, but it's got this really stupid thing in which this lad next to me copied what was happening in my life and wrote it in his own diary.
And now you know what I'm going to ask you.
What?
What's the moral of the lesson of the story?
If you cheat, change a few of the details.
For more stories like this, click subscribe.